Hey, how you doing?
Big day. So when Rich Wallace interviews, what is it that kind of, does he exude confidence? Was it his passion for the job? When you're talking to him, when do you think it clicked for you, like, this is a guy that we think we want to be our next head coach?
Well, like I said earlier, embodies the UCF way. He was willing to drag the dirt, wash the uniforms. To get back here, his goal was always to be the head coach at UCF. And he's gone to High Point, Creighton, Jacksonville, Notre Dame, went to the College World Series, just to get his way back here. He wanted to improve himself, to be the head coach here, to learn as much as he possibly could. That's kind of why, the UCF, he took advantage of all the opportunities that he got, and, earned his way back here.
Terry, how much pop up on your radar?
Huh?
What did he pop up on your radar as a possibility for candidate?
I've heard about him before, even before we made the change, and so we always looked at him. I got to tell you, we had a lot of great candidates for this job, and he was just kind of a guy that was very drawn to. I really was, and just his work ethic, his ability to recruit. One of the things I would talk to coaches around the country, and I'd say, okay, they'd be recommending somebody, on their staff, maybe their top assistant, or they may be recommending another head coach they know in their league, and I'd say, well, tell me about X, and they'd say, which is Rich. I'd tell me about Rich Wallace. They said, well, he's one of the best recruiters in the state of Florida. And I think, I'm not going to give it away, but once you find out who his staff that's coming to join him, you're going to be very impressed. He's got a really good staff coming too, assuming all of it goes okay and there's no hiccups there, but it's real impressive.
He said he wanted to build a monster here,
yeah.
And it seems like it's a sleeping giant of a job going into the Big 12, having a Central Florida footprint.
Yeah.
How important was it to hire a guy that understands the opportunity that this is a chance to make a powerhouse here?
Well, I think having the knowledge of how to recruit Florida is important, and understanding where the pockets are that are harder to recruit, and knowing who to hire to get into those areas, it was paramount. No other coach talked about that. His development, his recruitment, what he's going to do in the fall with camps and elite players and all that kind of stuff was just different than anybody else talked about. So, I think he was just on point with his ability to convince us that there wasn't going to be a better guy in the country that's going to recruit Florida better.
With the move to the Big 12 and the quality of baseball in that conference, there was no apprehension on your part to hire a first-year head coach?
There's a lot of coaches we're not the only ones that hired first-year head coaches in the Big 12. Kansas hired a assistant coach from LSU. Baylor, I think, hired a junior college coach. So Georgia just hired an assistant coach. Florida's coach was an assistant coach. So, I think the key where I learned a lot about the baseball strategy is Link Jarrett, the head coach at Florida State, is considered one of the best strategy and baseball tacticians in the country. So him learning, and also when I talked to Link about him, he turned a lot of the strategy over to Rich, and he's a third base coach. And I said, what happens if you get tossed, coach? And he says, he's my coach. He's the head coach. And so, he's been looked at other jobs, and he never wanted to come. He's had his eye on this job, and there's something to be said about people that want to be here and is insanely passionate about the opportunity. It'll resonate from a recruiting standpoint, it'll resonate from our fan base and from our fans.
During this process, what have you heard from donors, from former players, current players about Coach Wallace?
Well, I brought up the Blake Bortles. I got a text out of the blue on Saturday saying that he was his travel ball coach. He was the head coach. He was working here at UCF and needed some extra money, and so he took on a travel ball coach. Blake was 12 years old, and Coach me just talked about how much of a class act and how he really made a impression on him as a coach. And by the way, and Rich said he could have been a major leaguer baseball player too. So just little things like that. I think he was one of them, and I heard from some of the other alumni. I got some letters, and it was never like, hey, you got to hire him. What else? It was just like, hey, take a look at Rich Wallace. We trust what you're doing. just take a look at them, and I give everybody. It's like when I was coaching football a long time ago. Give everybody an honest day's evaluation. Sometimes sometimes that's why it takes longer. Plus, we had candidates that were still coaching in their tournaments. So, and in the NCAA tournament. So, I mean, we had to wait to talk to them and wait for after the weekends to talk to them because they didn't want to bother them. So we're trying to be respectful, and we didn't want to, no, you got to talk to us today, or we just wanted to make sure we vetted it all out.
Terry, there was a lot of reporting around the name of Joe.
Yeah.
MLB manager.
Yeah.
What happened with there? And
I talked to him. I mean, I just learned that he's the guy we talked to. You know, what you read out there is a little different than what the process was, but I mean, yeah, we talked to him absolutely. We talked to some other MLB people too. So he was a candidate, 100%.
While you're here, the Big 12 move is weeks away. Everything on course, on track, on whatever.
Yeah, July 1, huh? Yeah, we're Mission 12. We're following our roadmap. In trying to transition everything over to Big 12 initiatives, and yeah, we're moving forward. So,
I think this athletic department is prepared for that.
well, I mean, I think we're trying to invest like the best in the Big 12, and so we have to do that through self-generated revenue, and I think we're on track. We're going to have our we had our best fundraising year ever in the history of the school. We'll beat last year, so we'll have our best fundraising every year. But it's still, we still got to play catch up a little bit in the league. As I've said many times, that we're full members, but we're not full distribution members until July 1 of 25, fiscal year 26. So so we have some work to do. So in order for us to get on par with the rest of the league, we have to generate revenue to do it. And people don't realize this, but the state of Florida, there's state law that precludes state allocated dollars to go into the athletic department. So what we generate, what we eat, we kill, or what we kill, we eat, however you want to say it. So so we're on that track, and we've done a good job. We got to continue. It's never enough, right? Not only are we trying to build our operating capital, trying to keep good personnel, trying to attract good personnel, we're also trying to maintain and enhance our facilities, and then we have this little other track that we're on called recruiting, which is NIL, which presents a whole nother, just another track that we have to be cognizant of.
On that note, how important is this upcoming tourist development tax meeting presentation? I understand you guys are going to go soon before the board and kind of lay out a plan.
Yeah, we're really excited. We get to present on Friday, and we're really excited about it. And that's pretty much what it is. And our president is going to be involved, and the whole university's been involved. And we think that this is an opportunity for us. And when I first got here, I talked to one of our civic leaders, and I asked about any opportunities going down later on, or down the road that we might be able to apply for that's sports tax oriented. And when I found out that the TDT tax has to be exclusively earmarked for sports and arts, then it was a no-brainer that we also put our name in the hat to try to make a pitch and put an application
What
for.
is UCF's compelling case for those dollars?
I would say we're on the move, and where we need help, just like anybody else, to build a championship caliber Power 5 program. We're trying to invest like the best in the Big 12, and we've got to catch up a little bit in the facility and maintenance areas. And I think when you look at the scorecards to say what do we do, how do we attract tourism and all that stuff, we believe $91 million in tourism revenue in this last year alone. So over a 10-year period, it's almost $900 million. This is probably on a light year before Big 12. We had 200,000 hotel rooms attached just to our athletics calendar alone. and we had about 212,000 unique visitors outside of a 50-mile radius that came here because of UCF athletics. And when you use those analytics, that we believe that this was time for us to also put in an application as well. So see how it goes.
You were recently at the historic Greenbrier for Big 12
Yeah.
meetings. How impressed were you with Commissioner Yormark and his vision for the conference? I know there's a lot of talk about further expansion.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll happen, maybe not. Just how impressed were you and how did those meetings go?
Well, I mean, he's really innovative and always thinking about stuff. And he's hasn't been in college athletics before, but he'll run it by the ADs and say, "What do you think?" And he's real collaborative. And listen, he's always looking to make the conference better. And I think that's what he was hired to do. And being in there with the board of directors, they also said, "Listen, we hired you to be innovative and to be creative." And that's exactly what he's doing. And we're thrilled to have him. And what he's done so far with our media rights coming in 26 has been really good, especially in a really, really challenging time with layoffs and some of the major broadcast companies. But think about this, man. We're going to have two of the biggest sports networks in the country promoting UCF and getting people to come to Orlando because of who we are. You got Fox and you got ESPN. Those are the two biggest brands. And think about Fox is only Big Ten, maybe a little bit of NBC. ESPN is SEC, ACC, but we have two of the largest to plant a flag right here in the state of Florida.
How excited is this? How excited is this athletics department for July 1? What does that day mean?
I mean, it's just another unbelievable moment in time that we're going to look back at. So remember that year in 23, July 1, 23? And so, but the cool part about this is there's a lot of people, a lot of coaches, a lot of staff that's going to have the opportunity to be the first to do something. Who's going to be the first to win a conference championship in the Big 12? Who's going to be the first to go to the NCAA tournament in the Big 12? Who's going to be the first coach of the year? Who's going to be the first all-conference player in the Big 12? So there's a lot of opportunities for our young people to take advantage. Even though we may not have all the resources that some of the other leagues or other teams in the league have, we have a lot of things that some of the teams in the league don't have. So, we're real excited about that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.